Hi, good afternoon, folks. In this video, if this is the goal, there's other steps besides just drafting. There's free agency. Let's take a look at it coming up. Okay, shout out goes to Wesley Rempel. Wesley, what I'm going to do is we're going to take a look at the upcoming UFAs, okay? Because that's going to be the most targeted at the deadline, like usual anyway. Unless there's somebody that, like DeBrusque and all that wants out. But let's take a look at the most possible guys that we can get that are going to be UFA after the deadline and so on, because those are the guys that want new homes, want a bit of stability, want a bit of future. They want more money. They want to get a few more years in their careers. So let's take a look. We'll start with the forwards. And there you see it. You got Evgeny Malkin leading the way, who I would be interested in. I'll admit it, even though he's going to be 36, or right around 36 at the deadline. I would be interested in getting Malkin. I'm talking like a 2-year deal. I would be interested. Yep, I would be. That kind of leadership and his game that he plays and everything, I would definitely be interested. But, I mean, what are the odds? Who knows? Then you got Claude Giroux, Phil Kessel. I think Kessel will go cheap. Pavelski's at really the end of his career. Bergeron, I'm sure will stay a Bruin, even though there's all sorts of talk out there. Ryan Kessler's done. Johnny Gaudreau, very enticing, for sure. Alexander Radulov, 36, moving on. Kotkaniemi, that's a mistake, folks. I don't even know why he's on that list. He's going to be RFA next year. He's not going to be UFA. I don't even know why he's there. So bypass that. Louis Eriksson, nope. Philip Forsberg, for me, might be the one that I'd be the most interested in. Yeah, I think so. Looking at this list, Philip Forsberg, yeah, I like the age. He's center. His numbers are good. I would like Philip Forsberg. We'd probably have to pay, though. We'd probably have to give him a decent salary, even if it's for like 3-4 years. Dustin Brown, towards the end of his career. Thomas Hertl, enticing also. Andrew Ladd, 36, no. Andre Palat, perhaps. Yeah, perhaps. Max Domi I'd pass on just because it seems like he's trouble no matter what. I don't know. Not just because of the biting incident, just, I don't know. And then you got Carter, who's at the end of his career, and Niederreiter rounding off the page. There's more, of course. We'd have to look, but I just wanted to do a page basically of each, and we'll take a look at it. I honestly think if you look at a few of those, yeah, I could see us like being interested. Why not? I mean, the sad thing is, and the unfortunate thing is, we'd probably have to pay a bit more because we're not close to a Stanley Cup, and some of these guys want to play for a cup. We'd have to look at it and see, does it make sense? I don't think we have to worry, guys. I don't think Adams is going to go crazy in free agency. He proved that this summer. He's not going to just jump the gun. The whole thing with Taylor Hall was a good call. Believe it or not, it was a good call at the time because we're trying to keep Jack in town and all this stuff. But we had to learn that, you don't have to try and blackmail yourself into a position that a player wants to get, no, we should have just never got Taylor Hall and traded Jack when he was more healthy back in the day. But we move on from that. Okay, let's look at the defenseman now. There you see it. All right, so PK Subban still has game in him. He does. He still has game in him. I'd be open to it because I've always been a fan of his outgoing personality. I have. See, some guys like that rub me the right way. PK rubs me the right way because he doesn't do the public thing like I find like our friend. I won't mention Leonard's name, but I'll tell you anyway. PK, he rubs me the right way. He's got a good sense of humor. He seems, it just seems okay. I've always liked him when he was here in Montreal. How he was. This city was livid when they traded him. They were at the time. All right, next, Chris Letang. Yes, I'd be interested. Any Stanley Cup pieces, guys, for a few years, I'm interested. I am. And Letang can still play, as we all know. I mean, just look at his numbers just this year, right? So Letang still has it. I would definitely be interested. Would he be? That's the question. Giordano at the end of his career. Boychuk is done. Stralman, that's a tough one because, you know, it's the age. No, pass. God. Nick Leddy, I'd be interested, but I'm guessing he's probably going to stay there. Risto has done his time here. He would never come back, and I don't think the fans would want him back at this point. Not that everybody knows I'm a Risto fan, but no. And he's doing very good out there in hits this year, but I know that some Flyer fans aren't impressed, even though he's hitting a lot. Lindholm is 28. There's one. 6'3", 208. Yes, I'd be interested, kind of. And then we got Goligoski towards the end, you know, and you got other guys, DeKaiser, DeHaan. You know, I'm always looking 20s. That's kind of how I do it, me. But I mean, you know, when it comes to Hall of Fame players, no, those guys can last till 40. So I'm always open-minded to the Hall of Famers. Like on the Penguins, you know, when you got Malkin and Letang available, if we could nab both of them, my God, you know, at a decent price, but that's kind of wishful thinking, just for 2 years. And then Klingberg, he is 30, he's going to be 30. Mason will be 31 about. Olli Mata, he will be 28. Justin Schultz, who I like Justin Schultz, here's another one. And of course, Colin Miller. I'm sure we're probably going to move for a piece at the deadline. And Connor Murphy. And rounding it out with Nikita Zadorov, I would welcome him back to Buffalo. I would welcome back Zadorov. I like his size. I like his game. What I had heard was his off-ice antics back when this is what I had heard through Sabres fans back in the day, that there was just way too much partying with this guy off the ice. Only you guys would probably know better than me if that's true or not. I know a lot about what goes on with the Habs off ice out here. So, like when Price was out and they were saying it was this other issue, I knew what it was. I'm not going to go and do that on my channel, really, but at least he came out with it now. Plus, I'm in recovery, so I got the inside scoop. How's that? Okay. That kind of rounds out the defenseman. Now, look, there could be trades, right? That we're talking the trade deadline, not the unrestricted free agency opening. It's different. I'm showing you the free agents, but these are the majority of the guys that will be moved to get third rounders, second rounders, whatever they can get. If they're not going to sign with their respective teams, they want to get a draft pick, right? But we don't want to give away draft picks. That's something I want to say. We don't want to give away draft picks for a rental. We don't need rentals. We need somebody that's willing to, we'll talk to them and they're willing to sign a contract for 2 years or something. Okay, let's go on to the goalies, because I think this is where we're going to be looking for goaltending, will be this deadline if nothing happens, if we don't do anything now. Okay, here we go. And there you see it. And Marc-Andre Fleury leads the way. I love Marc-Andre Fleury. I love what he became in his 30s compared to his 20s, but nope, gotta pass. Gotta pass, I do. Just because of his age, no other reason. I'd love to have him for a year, like we did here, but would we get Marc-Andre Fleury for like $1 million? I doubt it. Koskinen, I would pass. I watch enough Oilers games. I like the fact he's a big goalie and everything, but I see how inconsistent he can be in the slumps he can get in. Kemper, I was surprised that he's unrestricted. I thought he was signed there in Colorado. I should have checked that, but I could have sworn he was signed, but I don't know. Maybe he just signed for a year. Thomas Greiss, he is 36. No. Halak, 37. No. Korpisalo is the one I'm enticed by in this list, without a doubt. Korpisalo, I liked what he offered in that bubble playoff run. He was just outstanding in that playoffs. And I don't forget when a goalie's good in the playoffs. Schneider is gone. Francouz is gone. Holtby, yes, I'd be interested. I would be. I have no problem with goalies being in their 30s. It's when we get players. I like veteran goaltending. I do. Then you got Jones on Philly. He's probably only going to play so much anyway. He'd probably resign there, I'm guessing. Jack Campbell in Toronto. Wouldn't that be something if we snagged him from Toronto? David Rittich, and rounding off, Casey DeSmith. These are the names I look at before. This is how I look at the deadline. I know there's other players, other potential trades, other guys that, I don't want to go into all of that. I want to go into the most possible, I hate to put it this way because we're Sabre fans, desperate players that want homes eventually. And that's what happens when you have a bottom feeder for years. Players aren't enticed to go there because they figure, I'm not going to win a cup there, or I have no choice. I'm going to go there. I'm going to make the best of it, like Anderson did. Anderson was at the end of his career, and he came here, and so far he's given us his best. So that's the thing. I think Adams would be smart enough not to just say, oh my God, we can get this guy and just do it. He'd have a talk with the agent, the player. You know what I mean? There would be some talk. Come on, there would be. There wouldn't just be. He would get an inside scoop that the player actually wants to play in Buffalo, which is what we want. We don't want to just get guys because they're desperate and have no other place to go. So there's only so many on lists like this that I look at. Forsberg I could see being really cool about just playing in Buffalo. There's a guy I could see. That's one that stands out for me. There's at least a name like Korpisalo. I would like the Sabres to get. I've liked him since that playoff run. I know he hasn't looked great since. He hasn't, but that's the best time sometimes to snag these guys is when they're not playing good. I mean, what if somebody came and offered us the first rounder for Dahlin? Some of you would say trade him. I guarantee you this would backfire eventually. We'd look at it in 3-4 years, and those fans that say, I wanted him out, will be saying, why did we ever trade him? That's what will happen. So you got to take advantage on teams when they're in situations. Look how Boston did to us with Taylor Hall. They knew Taylor Hall was insisting with his no movement clause to go to Boston. We had 2 offers. I heard 3, but I know for sure we had 2 offers from Eastern teams willing to give us first rounders for Taylor Hall. And he refused. So what could we do, right? We had to make the best of it. We got a young player in Bjork, and we got a second rounder in the deal. I mean, there was not much you can do. Losing Lazar wasn't that big a deal, really. I mean, we were losing anyway. When you're losing, you welcome change. So this is what I'm saying. What do you guys see on this list? And what players do you guys can think of that we could go after in a deal, in a trade, without giving up our first rounders? Because for me, the first rounder is not negotiable. It's not negotiable. Unless there's a guy number 97 that comes this way. It's not negotiable. No, you got to hang on to our firsts because that's our future. That's our stability, and that's really potentially our Stanley Cup. Is those picks. You never know, right? You just don't know what you're going to get with them. So no, we don't trade our first rounders no matter what under any conditions. No. So we can go this route, but I would say one player. If there's one player that stands out in that one, we're not going to go crazy. We'll probably just go after one piece that we need if we go to free agency. The trade deadline. Because if we go after one of these guys that's going to be a free agent, they hold a lot of cards too, we have to remember. So we have to be sure they're going to sign a deal, 2-year deal, let's say, if they're older, like Letang, for example, and they're willing to move on. Some of these guys that have won Stanley Cups sometimes are willing to move on, and they don't have to necessarily be on a team that's going to win a Stanley Cup. They want to be on a team where they can be a leader, a mentor also. That's possible. Okay. That's it. I hope this made a bit of sense, Wesley, but this is the way I went with it. See you in the next video, guys.